So today we're studying meditation and prayer. We're very close to the finishing of the first paragraph of the Shema. Just checking the comments coming in here. We're finishing the Shema. We're very close to finishing the Shema. And here we are. We're if you don't have a prayer book, you can find the prayer book online. It's at hebrewbooks.org/16091. It's 1609. We're vehayu ukshatam leot al yedecha vehayu letotafot ben einecha. We're on page 42 in the prayer book, familiarizing ourselves not only with the words of prayer but also with the meaning of the words of prayer, reading the words, understanding the words, and being able to meditate upon the words. Page 42, I'm now at the fifth line from the bottom, first word of the fifth last line from the bottom. The word is vehayu. Now, the root of this word is a very, very, very common word in Hebrew. A very common word. You got to really get used to this word. Here it is. It starts with a hey, and then it's got a yud, and it's got another hey. So it's hey, Yud, hey. The letter hey is the one with the broken foot over there. You know, it's like, hey, you got a broken foot, right? So when you see a letter that's got a break in it, you know that's a hey, you got a broken foot, right? And then the nation that is the smallest among the nations, it's the smallest letter of the alphabet. So hey, Yud, and hey spells haya. Haya means was. The word haya means that which was. Like we say in Adon Olam, Vehu haya, and he was. Vehu hove, and he is. Vehu yihiyeh v'tifara. He was, he is, and he will be. The word haya is so common in Hebrew. Such an important word that comes up all the time. For example, when God creates heaven and earth, Vayomer Elokim, God, remember, created the heavens and the earth through his speech. It was a voice-activated creative interface. And God said, let there be light, and there was light. Let's think about the Hebrew. It says, Vayomer Elokim, and God said, Yehi or, let there be light. Vayehi or, and there was light. So haya means, and it was. Vehaya means, and it was. It means being. Like a human being. A being is something which exists. Yehi, let there be light. Vayehi or, and there was light. It's a state of being. So if it could be in the past tense, and it was. It could be in the future tense, vehayu, and they will be. Like in the context of this verse in the Shema right now, vehayu hadvarim haele, and these words shall be for, and they shall be for a reminder in your eyes. It's in the future tense. It's the being in the future tense. So haya means being. It's very interesting that the name of God, well, before I get to the name of God. In Hebrew, modern Hebrew, the application of this is as follows. Hayo haya. If you say hayo haya, it's this word. It's exactly hey yud hey. Hayo hey yud hey. Hayo haya. Just the vowels change a little bit. Means it was. Like once upon a time. To say once upon a time is hayo haya. So in English, you'll say once upon a time, which means like happened a long time ago. But hayo haya means a being was. There was a being. There was an event. There was an occurrence. Hayo haya, an event happened. A being took place. When you say that something never happened, it never happened. You'll say lo haya v'lo nivra. You know, if somebody say you owe me money. And you say to him, never happened. What are you talking about? I don't owe you money. Lo haya v'lo nivra. It never was, and it was never created. Right? Lo haya. It wasn't. Never was. The Torah says when Adam and Eve were created, when Adam was created alone, God noticed that man was sad alone. Not good to be alone. That's why he created woman. So the Torah says, and God said, Lo tov heyot ha'adam levado. Lo tov heyot ha'adam levado. It's not good being man alone. That root there, the hey and the yud, the second hey, the third letter can often drop. For example, in the context of our verse, vav at the beginning of a word we've said before means and. The letter vav at the beginning of a word is a preposition. This one, the very straight letter, just just fills up the line. It doesn't go beneath the line. It doesn't go above the line. The Vav is a very straight letter. It's for V. V for very, very straight. The Vav at the beginning of a word is a preposition. It means and. So Vehayu means and. They shall be. We often drop the third letter, which is the Hey, the third letter of the root, which is the Hey. So you have that. Whenever you see a Hey and a Yud together, you know that you're talking about a being. That's the key, the meditation here. We're going to get to it in a moment. So Hayinu kecholmin. We sing in the song in the grace after meals. We sing a song of ascents, right? And we say Hayinu kecholmim. We will have been like dreamers. Hayinu, or we were like dreamers, or we will have been like dreamers. Depending on how you read the word, it's a state of being. We were in a state of dreamers. When Mashiach will come, we'll look back at these days today, when we were in semi-consciousness, when we weren't aware of all the brilliance around us. Like when we look at the Middle Ages, we feel like these people were sleeping in the Middle Ages. They didn't know about internet and electricity and justice and respect and human dignity and all these things that are commonplace to us today. Just like we look at them as backward and archaic, so too, when Mashiach will come, they'll look back at us today and we'll say, we were like dreamers. We were like sleeping. We were semi-conscious. I didn't even believe in God. I wasn't sure if I believed in God. And when Mashiach will come, you'll be like, wow, how could I not have believed in God? It's like when you get married, when you're in a deep and loving relationship and you look at when you were before, you were like, I don't know how I was even operating before then. I was all alone. I was lonely. I wasn't like, you can look back at yourself and say, wow, how was I functioning, you know? So the word hayinu means we will have been like dreamers, or we were like dreamers. And one final example is that when Eliezer, the servant of Abraham, comes searching for a wife for his master's son, for Yitzchak. Eliezer is a servant of Abraham, is searching for a wife for his master's son, for Yitzchak. He finds Rivka. It's a beautiful story in the book of Genesis in Bereshit. He finds Rivka, and just before the family sends her away to go off and marry Yitzchak, to become the matriarch of the Jewish people, they say, Achoteinu, our sister, at hayi le'alfei ravava, may you be to a multitude of nations. And that word hayi is heyud. Heyud, you shall be to a multitude of nations. This is a very, very common, frequent word in our Hebrew word diaries. Word number 39 in our Hebrew word diaries is haya, and it shall be, and it was, like the name, like the Adon Olam, vehu haya, and he was, vehu haveh, and he is, vehu yihiyeh, and he will be. And what's fascinating is that the name of God is exactly this. The name of God is exactly this. It's Yud and Hey and Vav and Hey. When you spell the four-letter name of God that we're not allowed to pronounce, it's a Yud, and then a Hey, and then a Vav, and then one final Hey. If you do a Yud and a Hey and a Vav and a final Hey, you spell the name of God that we are not allowed to ever pronounce or write. Why is God called by that name? Because that name incorporates past being, present being, and future being, all in the same word. Haya means was, Haveh means is, Yihiyeh means will be. You put those three words into one, you're talking about a timelessness. You're talking about something which is beyond, transcendent of time and space. And that is how we can relate to God, but it's too holy for us to pronounce. Just like you can't address your father or mother by their first name, it's considered disrespectful and obnoxious. So too, you can't refer to God by his definition. Not that God has a definition, because he really doesn't have a definition. But to refer to God by name is disrespectful. Not that this is God's essence name, but this is a name of God. And therefore we don't say it, we refer to God as Hashem. What does Hashem mean? Hashem means the name. The name, right? That's what it means. The name. Like I call my father Abba, or my mother Ima, which means you're my father, you're my mother. I call my parents-in-law Shver, which means father-in-law in Yiddish, or Shviger, which means mother-in-law in Yiddish. I don't call them by their first names because it's disrespectful. So I refer to them by what they are. So too, when we refer to God, we say Hashem, the name that we can't pronounce. And that, my friends, is the meditation of the word Haya. I do believe that this word was already in our Hebrew word diary. Let me just check it. It was very early on in our Hebrew word diaries. Yep, it was word number 5. This is actually word number 5. So we're not making word number 39 today, because this actually was word number 5, just revisited today in the context of the second last verse in the first paragraph of the Shema. So hopefully we've been able to refresh the meaning of the word Haya, to be able to read it, to understand it, and to meditate upon it. I'm going to sign off now, but I do want to say to you, thank you for joining me this morning. Again, an elevation to the soul of the father of Yisrael ben Natan, of Berger. It's Natan ben David. May his soul be elevated in Gan Eden. I'd like to make a special memorial prayer for him before we conclude. And just to remind you that today at 2:30 p.m. we're having a very special presentation. It's called Social Prejudice in the Jewish Community, as we will be broadcasting on Facebook Live. That's facebook.com/Jewish Gardens. Today at 2:30 p.m. we'll be interviewing a black Jew, a black Chabad rabbi. Fascinating story. Today at 2:30, as well as another member of our community who is also black, and we'll be talking about social prejudice in the Jewish community. It's going to be quite a fascinating conversation. Facebook.com/Jewish Gardens. O God, full of compassion, who dwells on high, grant true rest upon the wings of the divine presence in the exalted spheres of the holy and pure, who shine as the resplendence of the firmament to the soul of Reb Nassan ben Rabbi David, who has gone to this eternal world. For charity has been donated in remembrance of his soul. May his place of rest be in the Garden of Eden. Therefore, may the All-Merciful One shelter him with the cover of his wings forever, and bind his soul in the bond of life. The Lord is his heritage. May he rest in his resting place in peace. And now let us respond. Amen. Thank you, Rob. I appreciate your comments. My father would have loved you and all that you are doing. I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful that he sent us to meet each other, Rob. And I'm sure that he's joining in our Torah study today, even though we can't see him. I bet you he can see us. So thank you very much, everybody. Over and out. Have a wonderful day. We hope to see you today at 2:30 for the Rabbi and the Rebbitzin on social justice in the Jewish community. Yashar Koach. Over and out.